Okay, substitution problems are tough. Now, we've done difficult problems before. We've done some conceptually difficult problems, and we've done some computationally rigorous problems. These are both. That's why they're tough, but you can do this. Let's get started. Here we go. Question 1. Pia is 10 years older than Marie. In 4 years, Pia will be twice as old as Marie. How old is Pia now? And if you're like, well, maybe I could just guess each one, you do the plug and check method. Be like, all right, maybe Pia's 16, figure that out. Maybe Pia's 14 and figure that out. That could be one approach. And if you just want to give up, that's okay. These questions are worth the same amount as any other question on the test. So if you want to do the plug and check method, that's okay. These questions might be in the grid in section where you can't plug and check. I think they'd be a good candidate for that section. But you should be able to do this. You should press yourself to try to be able to solve these just computationally, just work it out. We can do this, let's go through it. Okay, so Pia is 10 years older than Marie. So Pia equals Marie plus 10, right? Pia is 10 years older than Marie. And if you want to say Pia minus 10 equals Marie, that's fine too. In 4 years, Pia is going to be, because P is Pia now, P is going to be plus 4, and Marie is going to be plus 4, right? So in 4 years, Pia plus 4 and Marie plus 4. I'm doing it two different ways so you can see that either way will get you the right answer. Okay, Pia will be twice as old as Marie. So Pia in 4 years is going to equal 2 times whatever Marie is in 4 years. Okay. So that's just the basic setup. And then you're like, all right, so what do I do now? Well, that's why they're called substitution problems, because you substitute. So P equals M plus 10. So wherever you see a P, you can insert M plus 10. So you see a P here, that equals M plus 10, so you can say that P is now going to be M plus 10 plus 4, because that 4 carries along, and then you have 2M plus 4. Well, if you have that, now you have the same variable on both sides of the equation. You can just solve for M. You can just solve for M. It's not too difficult. Just solve for M. Use the distributive property here to get 2M plus 8. Then you have M plus 14. You combine 10 and 4. Then you're just going to subtract M from either side and subtract 8 from either side, right? Subtract M, cancels that out. Subtracting 8 cancels that out. And you have M equals 6. Well, that's pretty cool. M equals 6. That's fun. But the question asks for how old Pia is. So if M equals 6, Pia, which equals M plus 10, is going to equal 16. And we're like, all right, that's cool. P equals 16, that's our answer. And we can plug it back in and confirm it, and we'll be good to go. But if you started out the other way, are you still in good shape? Yes, you are. I'll show you how. All right, so if you said, instead of P equals M plus 10, if you said P minus 10 equals M, because P is 10 years older than Marie, can be written either way, right? So now you have P plus 4 equals 2M plus 4, because in 4 years, P is going to be twice as old as Marie. Just substitute again. Here we can substitute for M, right? We can say M equals P minus 10, so we can say P plus 4 equals 2, and then M equals P minus 10, P minus 10 plus 4. So we're going to go P plus 4 equals 2, P minus 6, right? Because minus 10 plus 4 is minus 6. Use the distributive property because that is fun to do. And we have 2P minus 12 equals P plus 4. Now what do we do? Well, let's just subtract P from either side and add 12 to either side. This cancels out. 2P minus P equals P. This cancels out, and we have 4 plus 12 equals, 16. So P equals 16. Either way you do it, you're going to get the same end, the same result. I told you they were tough. Okay, question 2. Paul P is X years younger than Matt M. Which expression represents how old Paul will be in Y years? Okay, so you have Paul, and he is X years younger than Matt. So we'll do M minus X, right? Because Paul is younger than Matt, so Matt minus a set number of years will equal Paul. And you're like, how old will Paul be in Y years? Well, in Y years, so Paul plus Y, because that's how old Paul is in Y years, you're going to have M minus X plus Y. And you can be forgiven for saying, oh, I got to solve for P, right? But Paul equals how old Paul is now. P equals how old Paul is now. P plus Y is what you want. The question asks for how old will Paul be in Y years. So you want P plus Y. You want P plus Y. P plus Y equals M minus X plus Y. So which one of these equals M minus X plus Y? And you can see if you have a P here, it's just the answer wants it in terms of P, right? It wants it in terms of P plus Y. So you know B and C can't be the right answer. And you have M plus X plus Y. No, that's not right. And you hear plus Y minus X. Is that the same thing? Yeah. Because both of these are adding Y and subtracting X. They do them in different orders, but that's okay. If you're fluent with the commutative property of addition, you shouldn't be scared by this. D is your answer. And we're good to go. Okay, question 3, super tough question. Solve for M. X plus Y equals M plus 10, 2X plus 2Y equals 6M. And you're like, oh my gosh, how could I ever solve for this? This just doesn't even make any sense. I'm scared. Well, I'll go through it and then I bet you'll be able to do it. All right, so here we are. If we have something, and we can just call it a circle with a question mark, or just, X, or whatever we want to call it. If we have something that equals to something else, we'll do a square with a triangle in it. That is a terrible way to explain things. Okay, all right, let's try again. Question 3, solve for M. X plus Y equals M plus 10, 2X plus 2Y equals 6M. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even figure out how to even begin this one. I have 3 variables I'm supposed to solve for something. Maybe if I had 2 equations with 2 variables, that would make sense, but I can't even do this. Well, I'm going to go through it, and then I bet you'll be able to be successful. All right, so we have X plus Y equals M plus 10, and we want to get M by itself, because that's how you solve for M, right? You get M by itself. How are we going to do that? Well, if we can get something that else equals to X plus Y, then we can swap it out and we'll be in good shape. So what can we do to get something that equals X plus Y? Well, let's look here. We have 2X plus 2Y. Why don't we factor out a 2? That's good legal math. We just factored out a 2. And now what do we divide both sides by 2? That's good legal math. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, do the same thing to the other. That cancels out, and we have 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we have X plus Y equals 3M, and that's what this equals to. And over here we have X plus Y equals M plus 10. And we're like, it's starting to come together. X plus Y and X plus Y are the same. So if 3M equals X plus Y, then M plus 10 must also equal the same thing that 3M equals, because that's how math works. So we can say that because these are both equal to the same thing, we can set them equal to each other. Things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. Minus M from both sides. 2M equals 10. Divide by 2, divided by 2, M equals 5. I don't know, I like these. I think they're oddly kind of beautiful in a way. We're good to go. Okay, question 4. X plus Y minus 2 equals M minus 10, and M also equals 5 times X plus Y, and we're solving for M. So first thing you might say is, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this because it's X plus Y minus 2 now. And you're like, don't be so scared. You know how to do inverse operations. You know how to get rid of a minus 2 from one side of the equation. It's not that weird. It's something that you're good at. I know you can do this. So if you just add 2 to either side, you have X plus Y equals M minus 8, right? It's minus 8 because negative 10 plus 2 is minus 8. Over here, you're like, oh my gosh, this is on the wrong side of the equation, or the equal sign. I don't know how to work with that. Well, I mean, come on. Don't be so scared about things. You can rewrite it like this if it makes you feel more comfortable. Divide each side by 5, and that'll cancel out, and you'll just have M divided by 5. It's a fraction, but don't be scared of fractions. They are your friends as well. X plus Y equals M over 5, and X plus Y equals M minus 8. So just as before, if X plus Y equals this, and X plus Y equals that, then this must be equal to that. And we have M minus 8 equals M divided by 5. Now fractions are my friends, but sometimes I just want to get rid of them. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 5. That is good legal math, right? Sorry friends, you gotta go. So here we go, 5 divided by 5, or M divided by 5 times 5 just equals M, and you have to multiply the entire side of this equation by 5. Don't just multiply 5 times m, you have to multiply 5 times m minus 8, and you have 5m minus 40 using the distributive property. Now it's a long test, so I'm going to get rid of my negative numbers by adding 40 to either side, because that's just an easier way to do it for me. You might be fine with negative numbers, but I just find it simpler if I don't have to deal with them, if I don't have to. Okay, so add 40 to either side. I have 40 over here. Subtract m from either side. M minus m just cancels out. And 5m minus m is 4m. Now I have 4m equals 40. Going to divide both sides by 4, and I'm going to get m equals 10. And I'm good to go. Question 5. Abby is 16 years older than Benton. Carla is 6 years older than Benton. In 2 years, Abby will be 2 times as old as Carla. How old is Benton now? And you're like, oh my gosh, three people, 3 names. Well, if you can do 2, you can do 3. Okay, Abby is 16 years older than Benton. Carla is 6 years older than Benton. In 2 years, so Abby plus 2. Abby will be 2 times, so 2 times would be 2 times as old as Carla plus 2. Okay. We want to figure out how to get the same variable. And we're like, well, if we substitute this for A and this for C, then we're only dealing with B's. And if we're only dealing with B's, we can solve for B. And if we know how old Benton is now, we can figure out everything else we need to know. Okay, so A plus 2, I'm going to substitute B plus 16 for that A. And C plus 2, I'm going to substitute B plus 6 for that C. Okay, so I have B plus 16 plus 2 equals 2 times B plus 6 plus 2. Get it? Okay, good. B plus 18 equals 2 times B plus 8. You know, use the distributive property, and we have 2B plus 16 is equal to B plus 18. Subtract 16 from both sides and subtract B from both sides, and we have B equals 2. Okay, good to know. Benton is 2 years old right now. So what's the question asking? How old is Benton now? Oh, how nice. We know that. Answer's A. We're good to go. Question 6. Let's keep rolling. Mike is 1/3 as old as Patricia. So 3 times M equals P, or you can think about it as 1/3 P equals M, whichever way is more convenient for you. Patricia is 6 years younger than Nancy. So Patricia equals Nancy minus 6. In 10 years, Mike, so Mike plus 10, notice how I write Mike plus 10 right away, I just want to get it down, will be half as old, so they'll be half as old, so you got to multiply them by 2 to get to how old Nancy is in 10 years, n plus 10. How old is Patricia now? All right, so we have n and m here, and we want to find out how old Patricia is now, but even if it said another name, I'm thinking n and m can be substituted for p more easily than other variables. So let's just go with figuring out what m can be substituted for p and n can be substituted for p and work from there. Okay, so m equals 1/3 p. So, all right, so we'll do p over 3 just to keep it simple, plus 10. And n equals, what does n equal? Well, p equals n minus 6. N is going to equal p plus 6, right? So this equals P plus 6 plus 10. All right. Do the distributive property, and we have 2P divided by 3 plus 20 equals P plus 16. Now what do I do? Well, I'm going to subtract 2/3 P from either side. And this is like 1P or 3/3 P minus 2/3 P, which leaves me 1/3 P. And I'm going to subtract 16 from either side. Okay, so 20 minus 16 is 4, and 16 minus 16 just cancels out. So I have 4 equals 1/3 P. Now I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 3, because, you know, that's how I get rid of fractions. And I just have P on this side, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I know Patricia is 12. How old is Patricia now? That's the question. And we're good to go. All right, stay with me. Rick is 2 years younger than Sammy, so Sammy minus 2 equals Rick, or you can think about it as Rick plus 2 equals Sammy. Quentin is 3 times as old as Sammy, so Quentin times 3 equals, oh wait, Quentin is 3 times as old as Sammy, so I want to multiply Sammy by 3 to get to Quentin, or I can say 1/3 Quentin equals Sammy. That's right? Quentin is 3 times as old as Sammy, so 1/3 times Quentin equals Sammy, or 3 times Sammy equals Quentin. In 20 years, so Q plus 20, Quentin will be twice as old as Rick. So whatever Rick is in 20 years, you gotta multiply that by 2 to get to whatever Quentin is in 20 years. How old is Quentin now? All right, so I want to solve for Q, but it's hard to solve for Q because R is in terms of S, R is related to S up here. So first what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to do what I can do is get them both to S, because I know what a Q, how to get from Q to S, and how to get from R to S. So I'm going to find out what S is, what Sammy is, and then I'll use that to find out what Quentin is. So what is S in terms of Q? Well, Q equals 3S. So okay, 3S plus 20 equals, what is R? R is equal to S minus 2. So S minus 2 plus 20 inside the parentheses, which I will multiply by 2. All right, S minus 2 plus 20 is S plus 18, right? That's S plus 18, and that's going to be multiplied by 2, so that's going to get me 2S plus 36. That's how the distributive property works. And over here I have 3S plus 20. What am I going to do? Why don't I subtract 2S from either side? That sounds like a good idea. That just gives me S. And why don't I subtract 20 from either side? Because that gives me 16. Sammy is 16. Good to know you, Sammy. Okay, so if I know that Sammy is 16 and I want to find out how old Quentin is now, well, I know that, 3 times the Sammy will equal the Q. So 3 times 16 will get me to Q. All right, 3 times 16 is 48. Quinn is 48. We're good to go. All right, question 8. Tammy is 3 years younger than Wes. So Tammy plus 3 equals W, or W minus 3 equals Tammy, whichever you prefer. Vicky is twice as old as Tammy. So 2 times T equals V, or V divided by 2 equals T, whichever you prefer. 7 years ago, Wes, so Wes minus 7, Wes was 1/3 as old as Vicky. So Wes was 1/3 as old as Vicky, so you gotta multiply what Wes was 7 years ago by 3 to get to what Vicky was 7 years ago. How old is Tammy now? Well, I know what a W is to a T and a V is to a T, so let me just do that. W is to a T is T plus 3. So let's change out this W to T plus 3, and I keep the minus 7. And the 3 goes over there. And V is equal to 2T. V is equal to 2T minus 7. All right, let's just clean this up a little bit. Plus 3 minus 7 is minus 4. And 2T plus 7 just stays the way it is. 3T minus 12 equals 2T minus 7. We're going to subtract 2T from either side, and we're going to add 12 to either side. This cancels out, and minus 7 plus 12 becomes 5. 3T minus 2T is just T. Tammy is 5. And we're good. Question 9, solve for M, and you have a huge mess. But let's work through this and we can be successful. This is 2x plus 2y minus 6 equals 3m plus 18. All I did was use the distributive property. Now I'm going to add 6 to either side, and I get 2x plus 2y equals 3m plus 24. And wow, 2x plus 2y. There we go. So you know what? This looked like a tough problem, but it's really not. Just one quick step of using the distributive property and then adding 6 to either side, and I'm golden. All right, subtract 3m from either side. We have 4m equals 24. M is going to be 6. Easy. Question 10, and you should be able to do this, but I want to say that the first move I would make might not be the same first move that you would make. I see this and I'm like, oh, I have 6 on both sides. I have a number I can divide evenly on both sides. That's my first move. I'm just going to say m equals x plus y. I could multiply everything by 6, but I think that's the easiest first move. And maybe sometimes you're eager to jump into problems and you're eager to just plow through them. Take a step back, take like 2 seconds to be like, oh, is there something I can divide both sides of the equation by to make my life a little simpler? That's always a good first step if you can do it. If the question provides for it, you should take advantage of it. Okay, so m equals x plus y, and x plus y equals this. So m equals 1/2 m plus 8 minus 1/2 m from either side. Remember, this is like 1m or 1m or 2 over 2m minus 1/2 m. So 1 minus 1/2 just gives us a 1/2 m equals 8. Multiply each side by 2, and we know the answer's got to be 16. Not so tough. We're good to go.